In Kansas City, Missouri, a young man by the name of Travis, just trying to fit in with the crowd, draw attention to himself, made a bomb threat at his school. It was taken very, very seriously. This young man was kicked out of school and was arrested. While he was away from school, a young person gave him a copy of the Truth for Youth Bible. One of the comics in the Truth for Youth Bible deals with school violence. He sat down and with anticipation began to read these comic stories. The Holy Spirit grabbed hold of his heart, and he gave his heart to the Lord and got saved. Travis is serving God today, and it was all a result of a young person giving a Bible to a young man in school that was troubled and is now serving God.
So that's an example of what can happen. We just talked with Tim Todd in the last segment about the National Truth for Youth Bible Week. We're in that week, school just getting cranked up, and we were on a partner with Revival Fires Ministry to get one copy of the Truth for Youth Bible into the hands of every teenager in your home to in turn give away to a spiritually hungry classmate. So one Bible per teen to be given away, and we're partnering with Revival Fires to make these Bibles available to you at no cost. If you'd like to get more copies of the Truth for Youth Bible for your youth group or your Sunday school class or whatever, you can get them. Actually, if you buy a case, Tim has indicated at his cost, just $2 per copy of the Bible. So call the number 800-733-4737, 800-733-4737, or you can go to afr.net and order a copy of the Truth for Youth Bible. And Tim, talking about the fact that this works. People's lives are changed for eternity. I'm thinking back again to what Gutenberg said about the Bible. Said, yes, it is a press, referring to the movable printing press, made it possible to print the Bible in bulk. Yes, it is a press, certainly, but a press from which shall flow in inexhaustible streams the most abundant and most marvelous liquid that has ever flowed to relieve the thirst of men. Through it, God will spread his word. A spring of pure truth shall flow from it like a new star. It shall scatter the darkness of ignorance and cause a light hitherto unknown to shine among men. Again, that's the Truth for Youth Bible Week. Call 800-733-4737, 800-733-4737, or you can go to afr.net, get all the information that you need. Now, I want to take calls on two topics over the course of the program today. I'm going to start talking a little bit about healthcare here and Ted Cruz. Number to call is 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. And you can talk about either one of these. We're going to kind of weave information, content, sound bites about these two subjects as the program progresses. But question number one has to do with health care. As you are aware, Senator Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, Rand Paul, Marco Rubio is a part of this, along with 14 senators in total, have signed a letter, and there's a parallel letter by Representative Dave Meadows on the House side that says we are going to use a continuing resolution to defund Obamacare. Continuing resolution is an appropriations bill that has to be passed by September 30th. It's got to be passed by September 30th because the government will have no authority to spend money on October 1st if Congress doesn't appropriate it. Remember, government cannot spend a dollar that has not first been appropriated by Congress. That's what it says right there in the Constitution. If the Congress doesn't appropriate it, the government can't spend it. It's very simple, ladies and gentlemen. This is not rocket surgery. This is not difficult to grasp. Now, you got Republicans out there. They're trying to confuse this issue and say, oh, no. This is a mandatory program. Nothing can be done. There's no way this will work. We can't do it this way. But don't forget, according to the Constitution, the government cannot spend a dollar of money that's not first appropriated by Congress. So if the Congress does not appropriate funds for Obamacare, it cannot be implemented, period. Like I say, this is not brain science. This is simple. It is straightforward. If Congress doesn't appropriate the money, the federal government can't spend it. And a brand new authorization has to be put in place by the end of September, or the government cannot spend a dollar legally, constitutionally, on October 1. And Congress is in recess right now. They're going to be coming back. They'll have just 9 legislative days between the time when they convene right after Labor Day until the current continuing resolution expires on September 30th. They've got 9 legislative days to come up with appropriations for the next fiscal year. So the crunch is going to be on. The pressure is going to be on. Now, what President Obama has threatened to do is shut down the whole government if the Congress doesn't appropriate money for Obamacare. He's going to shut the whole place down. So my question to you is, are you willing to have that happen? Are you prepared to have President Obama shut down the entire federal government if that's what he chooses to do, if he doesn't get his way on Obamacare? If Congress doesn't appropriate the money to implement Obamacare, are you willing to allow President Obama to shut down the government? Is the risk of that, is that something that you are prepared to take? Would you encourage your legislator, your 2 senators, and your representative, would you encourage them to be strong, to be tough, to be firm, and not capitulate to that kind of a threat from President Obama? 888-589-8840 is the number to call. Also want to talk about whether you think we ought to intervene in Syria. We'll devote more attention in the second hour to that. So do you want Republicans to defund Obamacare, even if Obama shuts down the government? And number 2, do you think we ought to intervene in Syria, yes or no? Now, let's grab clips 3, 4, and 5 if we can, Rob, and then we'll go to the phones. This is Senator Ted Cruz. He's on CNN with Candy Crowley on Sunday talking about this business of defunding Obamacare through the continuing resolution. And, of course, Candy Crowley is typically, she's a winger left, so she is suspicious. But here is Cruz, articulate, bold, firm, direct, resolute, explaining how this thing works. Here's clip 1.
Once Obamacare is defunded or repealed, there's a great deal we can do on health care reform. I think 3 reforms are most important. Number 1, we should allow people to purchase health insurance in all 50 states. Right now it's illegal to do that.
Cross-state purchase.
And the advantage of that, the biggest barrier to getting health insurance right now is cost, because many people can't afford health insurance.
Do you think it's right that so many people in this country cannot afford health care and therefore do not have it?
Well, no, and that's why I want to fix that. Secondly, I think we need to expand health savings accounts, make it easier to save in a tax-advantaged way to take care of prevention, to take care of routine medical needs. And third, I think we need to de-link health insurance from employment. If you or I get fired, you don't lose your car insurance. You don't lose your house insurance. You don't lose your life insurance. There's no reason you should lose your health insurance. And of all of them, it's the worst one. So that's exactly right. We should have health insurance policies that are personal, that are portable.
So when you hear the Democrats saying, well, the Republicans don't have an alternative, they're not offering anything as an alternative. Well, Ted Cruz just laid it out for you. Health savings account that you can use for routine medical expenses, that you can save to meet your deductible if you have a low premium, high deductible plan. Portability, so you can buy health insurance from any health insurance company all across the nation. That's going to increase competition. You got all these health insurance companies competing with each other for your tax dollars. That is going to work. So Ted Cruz laying out what the alternatives are. Here is clip 2, his interview with Candy Crowley.
Here's what I think should happen. The House of Representatives should pass a continuing resolution that funds the federal government in its entirety, every aspect of the federal government, except Obamacare. And it should explicitly prohibit any funding for Obamacare, mandatory or discretionary. And I filed legislative language in the Senate to do that. Now, the next stage, we know how this play goes forward. President Obama, Harry Reid, will scream and holler that the mean, nasty Republicans are threatening to shut down the government. And at that point, Republicans have to do something we haven't done in a long time. Stand up and win the argument. We have to stand up and say, no, we want to keep the government open. We have voted to keep the government open, to fund the government. Why is President Obama threatening to shut the government down, to force Obamacare down the throats of the American people?
Now, here is the Constitution. no money. What part of no money do Republicans that are fighting this thing not understand? No money shall be drawn from the Treasury, but in consequence of appropriations made by law. Congress doesn't appropriate it, can't be spent. And so Ted Cruz said, look, you can defund the ongoing expenses of Obamacare. You can defund the implementation costs of Obamacare. And here is clip number 3, Ted Cruz.
We do not have the votes right now. We need 41 Republicans in the Senate, or we need 218 Republicans in the House, and that will only happen. And you know what? This fight is likely to heat up in the month of September. That's going to be when the battle is engaged. And I'm convinced there's a new paradigm in politics that actually has Washington very uncomfortable. It has politicians in both parties very uncomfortable. And that new paradigm is the rise of the grassroots, the ability of grassroots activists to demand of their elected officials they do the right thing. And I believe if we see a grassroots tsunami, that is going to cause Republicans and Democrats to listen to the people.
But it's going to take a tsunami.
It is going to take a tsunami, and I'm going to do everything I can to encourage that tsunami.
That's you and me, ladies. And when he talks about tsunami, he is talking about you and he's talking about me. And when we come out of the break, we'll start taking your calls. And I got one more Ted Cruz clip that I want to play for you, because Cruz makes it clear that right now, ladies and gentlemen, the primary obstacle to defunding Obamacare is not Barack Obama. The primary obstacle to defunding Obamacare is not Harry Reid. The primary obstacle to defunding Obamacare is not Nancy Pelosi. The primary obstacle to defunding Obamacare is not the Democratic Party. The primary obstacle to defunding Obamacare is other Republicans. They are the ones that are fighting the hardest against defunding Obamacare, and it's going to take a tsunami that's generated by you and me to overcome that opposition. Go to don'tfundobamacare.com, don't without the apostrophe, don'tfundobamacare.com. Sign the petition. It's up, I think, pushing 500,000 now. Let's push that thing right up to 1 million. Focal Point, AFR Talk. Be right back.